I might break this up. I might break this up into different parts because I still got shit to say. Alright, so the second anime that I saw was uh, Valkyrie Drive Mermaid. And if you've seen Valkyrie Drive Mermaid or heard of Valkyrie Drive Mermaid, then you know why I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that I watched the first episode and plan to watch the rest. I just if you haven't heard of this anime, it's actually part of a franchise. I did a little. I dug into it a little bit. It's a multimedia franchise. I'm pretty sure there are manga and at least one game on the Vita. I didn't really pay much attention to those, but the anime. Okay, so slight confession time. My personal interest in anime is I like Yuri. And if you don't know what Yuri is, it's lesbians. I really like anime that deals with lesbians. I say that, and yet I haven't seen what's considered the three sort of benchmarks of Yuri anime, which was Revolutionary Girl Utena, Strawberry Panic, and Candy Boy. Never saw any of those. I want to. I just haven't gotten around to it. I read Shoujo Sect, saw Blue Drop, Euro Yuri. I really like that as a fun little, stupid, fun anime. I do think that that Madoka Magica is an overtly Yuri anime, even though they don't really come out and say any of the girls are dating until the movie when Hamura goes completely insane. But like I said, I like Yuri a lot, and well, I'm a man in my late 20s, so obviously I like porn too. I don't even know how the fuck this. Like, I think the first time I was ever exposed to Valkyrie Drive was a series of GIFs of the two main girls basically having sex. Okay. I didn't know where it was from. I thought it was. I just thought it was porn. Honestly, I didn't know it was like a mainstream anime. But apparently it is. Well, not mainstream. I'm pretty sure it seems pretty niche, but it's. I think it is being aired on like TV in Japan or something. I don't know. But today I actually did see another another photo set from this anime, and finally figured out what it's called. So I looked it up, saw the first episode, and there are a lot of titties. It is borderline porn, basically. It's softcore porn is what I'm getting at, but it's good softcore porn. I'm not gonna deny it. Like I like fan service. I'm into fan servicey things. I'm not gonna deny that, but I will admit that fan service show anime that are predicated solely on fan service are terrible. They always are. Ikitosen, Aiken, Queensblade especially. I've always kind of had this sort of mentality of, if you're going this far with it, why not just make hentai? You know? Like, just go all the way. Just show everything. Why do you have to go be this like fucking coy with it? But anime like those I just mentioned, Girls Bravo, fucking fucking Sekirei, shit like that. Sekirei is meh. It's watchable. I'll give it that. It's that Sekirei is watchable. Girls Bravo is awful. Um, so are a lot of really fan service driven shows like that. Uh, like in after I was watching Valkyrie Drive, I actually had to sit back and think to myself, why did I like this? Because honestly, even though it is Yuri, Valkyrie Drive is the sort of thing I would scoff at. I would I would watch it, hate it, and never want to watch it again. But like I said, I want to keep watching this, and I will keep watching it. I won't make a review. I won't make a like an overall review about the series or anything like that. I'll just watch it for my own enjoyment. But like I'm thinking to myself, and what's the difference between this and Queen's Blade, which is very similar to this actually in how it's presented. It's a battle fiction show. It's uh, big tittied women fighting each other and their clothes just spontaneously falling off. Um, well, I say it's like that, but honestly, it's kind of like uh, it's erotic. Honestly, Valkyrie Drive is erotic Soul Eater. Like, uh, I've been talking about it, but I haven't even really explained the basic premise of Valkyrie Drive. Basically, there are these islands apparently, and they're sort of segmented off from each other. And just like Soul Eater, there is this one particular island. Um, that is either entirely or predominantly I don't know if it's entirely populated by women, but so far all of the characters we've seen on this one particular island have all been women. And of course there's a school, because there's always a fucking school. But again, that also brings it closer to the comparison to Soul Eater, because both do take place in the school, and in both cases, there are two types of people. I don't know what I can't really remember what the anime calls them, but so I'm just gonna call them by the Soul Eater uh, vernacular. There are Meisters and weapons, and the Meisters wield the weapons, obviously, and the weapons are people who turn into weapons. It's the name. And that's basically the idea behind Valkyrie Drive, with the added example of the weapons can only turn into weapons when their maesters make them orgasm. And both the weapon and the maester are always women. At least so far, they're always women. So, yeah, that's where the Yuri thing comes in. God, it's so fucking stupid. I realize this is the stupidest goddamn thing ever. What am I gonna say? Sometimes stupid works. Sometimes stupid works. But that's the basic premise of Valkyrie Drive. I don't know the overall story yet because, like I said, I've only seen one episode. But yeah, that's I guess I can go into the actual episode. It actually starts off with one of the with the main girl, Mori or something like that. I think. I have a hard enough time remembering English names. Japanese ones are just fuck. Amori realized at a young age that something was wrong with her because she overheard her parents talking one night, saying that a doctor said there was some sort of abnormality with her, and now that she's an adult and now that she's a teenager, These two dudes show up at her high school, kidnap her, and then launch her on this island where she wakes up. And these two chicks in bikinis show up and try and kill her. And of course they do this by making the one with the big tits orgasm. And of course the girl with the big tits is the weapon, and the girl with the small tits is the maester. So you have a girl in a bikini molesting another girl, consensually molesting another girl with big tits to turn her into a Gatling gun. Oh god, this is so fucking stupid. Okay, so yeah, they fight. They don't fight. They kind of threaten Mamori. I know I'm saying that girl's name wrong. They threaten Mamori, and then another girl shows up, who she just shows the fuck up, like in the same thing that Mamori was shot at the island in. She gets shot in. And apparently there's some sort of fucking force field barrier or some type of shit around the island, because the thing that she's in just completely falls apart. And then she starts falling. But then she corrects herself and lands on her feet and gets in front of Mamori and protects her from the girl in the bikini and her Gatling gun girlfriend. And then they fight and just start fighting. And then somehow, I don't fucking know. The blonde chick, that's the one that came coming down, kisses Mamori, and apparently that's enough to make her orgasm, and then she turns into a sword. Yeah, the blonde chick is the maester, and Mamori's a weapon. So, blonde girl kicks bikini girl's ass. And then they kind of travel inland from the beach where they were, and they come across a castle, and then they get attacked by another. Maester weapon group, Maester weapon couple partnership. I don't know. Team. Let's go with that. Team. Maester weapon team. And this particular one is a sadomasochistic relationship. Yeah, the weapon is a masochist. The weapon is a masochist. So the maester just grinds her feet into her pussy. And she orgasms. And she turns into... Well, the only thing I can really explain is... Has anyone ever read Hellboy Wake the Devil? If you have, you might know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you might not. In Chapter 2 of Hellboy Wake the Devil, Hellboy fights a Nazi enforcer, I guess, that has a mechanical arm, and the hand is attached to a chain that shoots out, and he knocks Hellboy around a little bit until Hellboy eventually kicks his ass, because that's what Hellboy does. The masochist weapon basically turns into that dude's arm. It's a giant gauntlet with a mace at the end that shoots out, and yeah. Mommy? Was it? Mommy? The weapon, I'm just gonna call her that, the weapon girl, she gets freaked out because she has no idea what the fuck's going on right now. The Meister girl, she does. I really don't think she knows what the fuck's going on either, but she knows how to fight at least. So she kind of dodges around and just tries to keep the weapon girl safe until she really can't, and they realize, okay, we gotta fight. So they have sex. Like, like that's basically it. Like they have, like it's quick, thankfully. It's really quick, like less than 30 seconds, and she turns into a sword again, and then they kick the S&M couple's ass. Um, and yeah, that's the first episode basically. Apparently, there's some sort of the people who run the school know about them, and they were delivered to this island. I think the school like rules the island or something like that, or they have a lot of control over the island, or at the very least, they have a lot of surveillance equipment that lets them know when a new weapon and a new maester show up. Um, and the beach couple and the S&M couple, they were sort of just testing weapon girl and maester girl. Um, and apparently they pass because they very soundly kick both of their asses. Um, they introduce a couple of characters. This headmaster, a general or a lieutenant or something like that, and this other student that takes bets on different fights. I have a feeling I'm gonna like her, as long as she's not too much of a bitch. Like I can tell she's gonna be a kind of a bitch character, but as long as she's not too much of a bitch character, I'm probably gonna like her. And they kind of show these two other uh, these two other women who I think are another Weaponmeister team. I think the weapon can actually turn. I think the weapon can actually turn into a motorcycle too, which is kind of cool. Like either she turns into a motorcycle or the motorcycle is her weapon form. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically the first episode of Valkyrie Drive, and like I said, I liked it. I really did. Like I have a feeling that even if it didn't have the the pornographic lesbianism, I'd still like it. Like the art design is good, the animation is good, the script writing is actually pretty decent. The world is actually kind of interesting. I really want to know what the fuck's going on with this whole. All right, sorry y'all. My recording stopped because I was doing it for over an hour. Jesus Christ, I've been talking for over an hour. Okay, like I was saying, the script writing is good, the animation is good. Well, the script writing is decent. The animation is really good. And like I said, and the world building is interesting enough. I really do want to know what's going on and what's the deal with these islands and how are these weapons and meisters like made or something like that, because I don't think it's not as well known as the whole weapon meister thing. I don't think it's as well known in this universe as it is in the Soul Eater universe, because when she's a girl, the weapon girl, when she was younger, the weapon girl's parents say that there's an abnormality in her, and I'm assuming that's her being able to turn into a sword. And like Soul Eater, there is apparently some sort of it for the most part, this seems very much technology based. Soul Eater, it was very much magic based, but the whole soul resonance thing, that's not really a factor. But I think there is some sort of connection that the weapon and Meister have to have in order for the weapon to transform. So, like I said, I really want to know what's going on in this world, and I am genuinely interested in seeing how it all plays out. Um, so yeah, that's Valkyrie Drive. It's actually, I wanted, like I said, I wanted to think about why I liked Valkyrie Drive, but I hated Queensblade because they're both borderline porn. But like I said, I want to know more about. I want to watch more episodes of Valkyrie Drive, but I couldn't get past episode 2 of Queen's Blade. Like, I hated that anime, and after thinking about it for a while, I think the reason why I can keep watching Valkyrie Drive, but just completely despise Queen's Blade is because Queen's Blade was boring. Like, Queen's Blade was really, really fucking boring. Like, even the tits couldn't save Queen's Blade for me. Like, you haven't, like, and it's honestly surprising that this anime can be considered so goddamn boring because you have a girl that can shoot acid out of her tits and is made of goo, and her hair covers her boobs because that's apparently part of her outfit, and her hair squeezes her tits to make the acid come out. And the second episode had, I think her name is Lena or something like that, wrestling some snake bitch topless in oil. It had two girls wrestling topless in oil, and it's still so fucking boring. How do you do that? But like I said, I think that's why I hated Queen's Blade so much, because it was really fucking boring. This doesn't seem boring at all. It seems really interesting, and it does seem like a really good anime. Even if you took out the tits and the lesbianism, it would still, I think, be a really good anime. So yeah, that's Valkyrie Drive. Still gonna watch it. Still really interested in it. Not gonna do any more vlogs on it. I don't know. I might, maybe. I don't know. But on to the last thing I saw today. Something that's actually been around for a while and is almost done with its run. One Punch Man. One Punch Man. Like, I've actually heard a lot of really good things about One Punch Man. That's why that's why I wanted to watch it so much, and I finally got around to it today, and it does not disappoint. It's, again, like Valkyrie Drive, it's really stupid. It doesn't have tits, unfortunately, but it is kind of a really stupid anime, but I think it acknowledges the fact that it's kind of stupid. It's one thing I didn't know is the fact that One Punch Man is actually based off of a Japanese webcomic that was considered really popular back when it first started in '09, and eventually was adopted into a manga, and then now the anime. And it's actually planning to release a number of OVAs in the next couple years. So those are going to be fun. And like Valkyrie Drive, I only watched the first episode so far, but I am going to watch the rest eventually when I get around to it. When I have the time for it. I mean, and Jesus Christ. One Punch Man, I think, is my favorite superhero now. It's so fucking ridiculous. It's like, apparently this one dude, he fought a giant crab monster to save this kid with a giant chin that looks like balls. That's the only way I can really describe it. It's a kid with an enormous chin that looks like a set of balls. And he saves his kid, and then he decides, I'm going to be a superhero and train really hard. And he trains so hard that he loses all of his hair, and he's now the strongest person on the planet, and he can basically kill anyone with one punch. Hence the name One Punch Man. The first... it actually kind of has three stories in it. The first one is sort of setting up One Punch Man. And, One Punch Man as the hero of the story. You know, this thing comes down and starts killing people and beats the crap out of a bunch of other heroes, and he's about to kill this little girl, but then One Punch Man comes in and saves her, and then the thing grows into an enormous monster, and then One Punch Man kills it in one punch. and he's actually upset about it because he trains so hard that he does literally become the strongest man in the world, and he can obliterate anything with one punch, and it's boring. Like like he is the strongest thing in the world. Nothing can challenge him at this point, and he's bored out of his mind. And you can actually see that in his face and how he's drawn, because he has a really plain face, and his costume is really bland, and nothing really unique really stands out about him, other than the fact that he is just so unbelievably strong. And the second, I told you about the. Well, yeah, actually, I guess it technically has four stories. Um, I already told you about the flashback where it kind of shows him when he's just a normal dude, and then he has his ambition to become a strong hero, and then a scientist apparently makes his little brother, who is a huge musclehead, into a huge musclehead, like a giant, 1,000-foot tall musclehead, giant, several 100 feet tall musclehead, and One Punch Man comes up and fights him and beats him in one punch. And the big brother actually accidentally kills the little brother accidentally kills his big brother, and he realizes that I've become the strongest in the world, but it's left me empty because I can't have anything else. And then One Punch Man punches him in the face, and you do kind of realize that One Punch Man kind of has the same deal. Like like I said, he's bored with everything because there's no challenge in his life anymore. And the last story starts off with him sort of lamenting that he's so bored because nothing can challenge him anymore, and then he goes to sleep and wakes up, and he finally has a challenge. These subterraneans, these things that come out of the ground, come up and start killing people indiscriminately, and One Punch Man comes out and starts kicking their asses, but they're really, like, he's actually finally having a challenge, so he's finally enjoying himself. And right when he's about to fight the king subterranean thing, whatever, he wakes up and he realizes the whole thing was a dream. And then he wakes up to realize that there actually are subterraneans trying to invade the surface, but he kicks their king's ass quickly, and then the others surrender. And that's how the episode ends. It's not as stupid as Valkyrie Drive, I'll admit, but it's still pretty fucking dumb. It's really dumb, and that's fine. It's like both are. I think both are really fine. The fact that they're so stupid, because sometimes stupid is good. You can deal with stupid. Like, well written stupid is actually really hard to do. What was it? Ninja Warrior, or Ninja Assassin, or Ninja Hero, or some shit like that. I watched a few episodes of that, whatever the fuck it's called. It's actually really late. Whatever the fuck it's called, I don't know. And I didn't like it. Like, it's stupid, but it's not a fun stupid. It's just loud things and shit animation and no real substance to it. Like, even things without much substance can still be entertaining if actually no, there's like something. There always has to be some sort of deeper meaning to something. Like in Valkyrie Drive, you can actually tell that the Maester girl and the Weapon girl, that there is a genuine connection between these two, and that's probably going to be one of the driving forces to why this particular show is so engaging, because the relationship between the Weapon and the Maester is going to be like in Soul Eater, the relationship between the main certain weapon is going to be one of the main draws of it, and One Punch Man, it does have substance. It is kind of, it's fun and it's stupid, but it's not a deep thinking show, but it does. It's not just. It is. It's a deep. It's not a deep thinking show. It is just mindless action, but I think it's mindless action tempered with the fact that it knows that it's mindless action and it's trying to be fun, but it's also not taking itself for granted. It's not just saying we have big over the top fights, because it does have big over the top fights, but it also has fights that are ended in one punch, hence the name of the fucking title. Uh, and there's like it's really hard to explain this. It's hard to explain why stupid comedy works as well as it does, because you actually have, despite the name of despite its name, you actually have to be really smart to write stupid comedy effectively, because you can be mindless, you can be brainless, you can be kind of shallow, but there has to be something. There has to be something underneath it all, something to actually grab the audience's attention and let them know that you aren't just dangling keys in front of their face for 20 minutes. You have to actually have something more, something, if not something deep, at least something to say. Even if it's as simple as we like big titty lesbians fighting. Like, I don't know. One thing I actually am a little bit curious about with One Punch Man is I'm curious where how it can actually go on as long as it has, because like I said, the webcomic has been going on since 2009, so over 6 years it's been going on, and I will admit that I can see myself watching this from beginning to end. I am curious how they're gonna keep a story about a character who can literally take anything down with a single punch. People always complain about Superman, how he's too overpowered and nothing is a challenge for him. Well, literally nothing. The literal crux of One Punch Man is that nothing is a challenge for him. So, how are you? And that actually does kind of have its own drama and its own pathos to it. So, it probably isn't as big of a problem as I'm thinking about. But I am curious how they're actually going to keep this show as engaging as the first episode. I've been talking for over an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't even know I could go on for that long, but well, I was talking about 3 different anime, and I did have a lot to say about Digimon, because I'm such a huge Digimon fan, and well, I'm a Yuri fan too, so borderline lesbian porn I'm in favor of. Keep going with adventure I'm definitely in favor of, and a guy who can punch a giant alien virus monster in the face and kill it, I am absolutely in favor of, because that's awesome. It's stupidly awesome. Okay, so Am I No Mercy. I'll see y'all later.